Okay, here we go. Welcome to another live webcast on Wednesdays. This is James Middick speaking from TrainingSites.io. Got a lot to cover today, so why don't we just get at it. This is the first one of 2024. So, of course, what I want to do is go over 2023 and let's take a look and see what was happening or what wasn't happening there. So, pardon me, contact in the way. So here's kind of the gist of this. One of the things that was interesting to me is that I think everyone that is running a small business, they're a bit of an entrepreneur, they're playing around with this online stuff. It's always a great idea to go back and take a look at where the money came from. Now, why is that? Because what I found over 25 years or 26 years of being an online entrepreneur is that in as much as you think that money's coming from one place and you focus your efforts and energy in that one place, when you go back and look at the previous year, you'll find that many people find that, me included, that the money, majority of the money that you generate does not come from where you think it does. And again, this is something that I ran into this year. So I wanted to spend some time kind of going over where that was from, what was happening with it. I'm just going to put the little camera up a little bit to spend a little bit of time and look at, where it was actually coming from and what was happening. So that's one of the things that I want to do today. The other thing is, and let me just go to my home page so that we have it, and we'll go back to the home page. This was actually that you're looking at the calendar, and let's go back and actually visit the site so I can go and promote that while we're talking. So I wanted to do that. I wanted to go over also look at some of the cool tools that we've run into this year. I'm going to do that on a regular basis because there are so many tools that I think can be applied to most people's businesses. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit today. The other thing was I wanted really to go through some of the stuff that we've learned over the past year and where we're going to take things over the next year. And the big thing was the things that we struggled with. And what am I talking about? These are not only the personal struggles, but the business struggles of being an online entrepreneur or someone who's got a small business. So let's take a look at those. I don't know how long we're going to go today. I'll do my best to try and keep it short and sweet and to the point. And I've got tabs open, so we'll be able to hopefully work with that and go through those. But here's the big thing for me personally, and this is the one that always surprises me. If I look back from our revenues from the last year, the one thing that I was focusing on was getting our training site kind of not back on track, but up to date, put it that way. Because we have so much content that we've created with digital exhaust and the things that we capture on a regular basis, it can be really hard to actually keep that organized and up to date. And a lot of times it gets kind of repeated or repetitive because we're redoing stuff that we've already done and trying to put it, excuse me, in, or not being able or not having the time to replace courses or information that we originally had that addressed some of the same issues but just needed to be updated. So that's where, I spent some time or a considerable amount of time doing that over the last year. And also starting to try and sell more courses because we hadn't been doing that as much. And for me, the part that is, I don't know if scary is the right word, but reinforced to me is the majority of the money from my company comes from our agency and not from the sale of courses. Now, this is kind of counterintuitive because we build training sites and we teach people how to build courses, and there's a lot of great information that we've produced to do that, to give subject matter experts, to give people the ability to create their own courses and sell them, to start an education business, to be able to have a training site where they can build a community and actually sell and profit from their knowledge and their expertise. So we spent a lot of time doing that, but if I take a look at where the money was coming from, it was from the agency side where we're actually not teaching people how to do it, but actually doing it for them. And I'm talking about building courses, complete courses, building training sites, traditional stuff like just keeping people's websites up to date if they didn't have a training site but wanted to have a training site, or they were looking at having a course or starting to be a course creator. So the big thing that we learned, and the part that is going to help drive or help us stay focused in 2024, is the fact that more than 60% of our revenue came from the done-for-you services. So this is a huge amount. I've done a number of videos on, I believe there's 13 different revenue generators that we try and teach people or help people focus on when they're selling information products. Coaching and courses and ebooks and merch and all of these are different things that can be sold. But when we look at it, 60%, and it was actually closer to 70% of it was coming from our agency, which the done-for-you services. And there's a number of reasons for that, which I can probably go into in another session. I don't want to spend too much time on it today. I want to get straight to the point on some of these things. And this focus on the agency side made me go back and take a look at not who I thought or we thought the traditional customer was for our services, but if you take a look back, and we took a look back at the actual customers that were paying us up to 70% of our revenue, it wasn't necessarily the one that we had identified earlier on in our business. It's actually changed a little bit, and I think that's why the agency side has grown so much. And here's what it is. When we initially, you have to put this in perspective. When I first started this in the late 90s, early 2000s, it was all about teaching people how to do things. And the market was not big companies, but it was coaches, consultants, small business owners, people who had a hobby or something that they wanted to actually earn some money by packaging it up in the form of a course. And we focused a lot on that, and that's gone on for a number of years. But the products that we created, or information products that we created, were about servicing that particular customer. And it wasn't about bigger businesses. It wasn't about multi-employee businesses. It wasn't about multi-location businesses. It wasn't necessarily about businesses that had physical locations and or sold physical service or physical products. It was more on the, for lack of a better term, a subject matter expert. So this was, one of the things that I think, again, that helped us and helping me in 2024 is the people that were using the agency services tended to be bigger small businesses, and also businesses that were not selling information products, but training staff, internal staff, and external resellers, for example. So they were building out training sites, they were creating courses, but it wasn't to sell. It wasn't to sell the courses. It was actually for them to provide content education or education to their customers, to their staff, and to the resellers and people that help them build their business. And here's the big reason that I think this is happening, and I think the big lesson for me personally is that selling courses and building an education business and building a training business is about saving time. And I think there's still a market for how to do things, but if we're selling to businesses and people have smaller businesses or multi-employee businesses or multi-location businesses or physical products, they just don't have time to create the education tools that they have to use now to keep up to date. So it's not selling to people who are selling a course, it's more selling to people who are trying to educate or train their staff. And that's where our agency business blew up. They're running their own business. They've got all the other stuff that they need to do to run their business. It's not about selling a course for them. So does that mean that we're not going to teach people how to sell courses? Of course not. But the time and energy that we're going to have to put in 2024 is how to save time helping people who are bigger businesses than just a mom and pop shop or an individual person to help them create these training portals, training sites, and create the courses that are not necessarily for sale, but are for educating and teaching online. So that was exciting to me in going back and looking at that. So the next thing that we're going to be doing over the next year is we're going to be focusing on the agency side, because that's where the money's from. And as much as I would like to just go, because I like creating courses, I like creating training sites, recording all of this stuff that we're doing, it would be great to focus my time on that just because I love it. But at the end of the day, it's about building a business for us. So we're going to be focusing on the agency side, and that's where most of our new content. Now, the cool thing is that with permission of some of these small companies, is we can record the work that we do on the agency side and use that as part of the TrainingSites.io campus. So we still have a ton of courses. We're still going to be doing live webinars, which I'll talk about in a minute. But that's the part that is going to be less of a focus. The actual courses, we're going to be working on the services. So some of the services that we provide right now, if I open up this page here, you should be able to see it. Some of the services that that we spend time with, they're all done for you services. So some of the things that we do, of course, are training sites done for you. So we'll build complete campuses, and when we're building campuses, 99% of the time they're on WordPress sites, and we have a whole stack or suite of tools that we use when we build these campuses. And again, if we're building it for you and you do have one of our service packages, you really don't have to purchase anything because it's included. We include all the software that you need, all of the hosting, the platform, everything is there. We basically need to work with you creating your content or creating courses. So that's the other piece that we'll do. We'll create the campus, the training site. The other thing we'll do is, support it and manage it. So if there's any changes or things that need to be done, the design of it, the marketing of it, the SEO of it, the email marketing, the social media marketing, all of those things are there. And then, of course, the other thing is the actual course creation. We've been really successful on taking, and this is interesting for me, another one personally, is the agency clients that we've been working with, the customers that we've been working with, they have a lot of great information that they want to convert into a course. And they have two problems that they run into. The first one is they have a PowerPoint slide deck that they want turned into a course. The people that are actually creating or organizing that content are really crappy on camera or uncomfortable on camera. They don't know how to use any of this stuff to capture it in a way that can be used as a course. They don't know how to break it down. They don't know how to structure it. They don't have a syllabus, none of that stuff, no course outline, and they just want it done for them because they don't have the time to do it. So we're actually creating a number of courses, or not a number, a lot of courses for a lot of companies now. And question comes is, are we using ChatGPT to do this? Of course we are. So we'll take the content that you have and create a course or complete courses for you to train your staff or be able to use to educate in, whether it be your customers or the people internally in your training site. And we've done some really neat work with this. And I think, if that's something that you need to do is create courses, and even if they're for sale, but if they're not for sale, that's fine too. We've done a really good job at putting those together, and we can do it quickly. In some of the campuses and training sites that we've done, we've got a couple now where we've done 7, 8, 9 courses that we've created covering all aspects of their business. And basically we're taking a slide deck or existing training materials that may have done in person, and we're actually creating complete courses that we use in the training sites and campuses. And this has nothing to do with the community, which I'm a big fan of, which gets applied after the course content. But we've structured it so that if you want a training site, you want an online learning campus, you want to build a community, we can take care of all of that for you, right from starting it, designing it, planning it, to building it, and in fact, growing it and marketing it. We've got a complete line of services that do that for you, and that's what we've seen grow so much. And I think the big thing is time. And as much as people would love to say, yeah, I want to learn how to create a course, I want to learn how to use these tools, I want to learn how to do live webcasts, I want to learn how to create courses, I want to learn WordPress and all the different tools that we have, I want to learn how to do social media, I want to learn how to create sales funnels and do live events, but they don't have time. You just don't have time. So that's the big lesson that I've learned personally, and we're going to be spending more time on over the next year and the next while, staying focused on that and focused on the right people, the right customers. And when I'm talking about customers, this is the other piece that we spent more time in the end of the year 2023, and I think it's where we're going to spend a lot more time moving forward in 2024 and on. And the reason this came about is when we were actually starting to create courses early last year for people's training sites. And because they didn't have any structure, or they didn't know the questions they were asking or the problems they were trying to solve with their courses, we had to spend a lot of time working with people planning, like, what is the big issue? What's the problem that you're trying to solve? How does this work? What's important to your customers, whether they be internal or external? And they didn't have a list of questions or problems that they needed to solve, and they didn't really know who they were solving them for. And those two things are obviously key to the planning. So we spent a lot of time actually creating what are called topical authority maps for customers. And these topical authority maps, created with ChatGPT and other AI tools, used to have to be done manually, but we save a whole bunch of time having it done with us. It creates a couple things, or clarifies a couple things. The first one is it helps you identify and confirm the niche, or the niche and the group of people that you're trying to help. And the second thing is it gets you really, really clear on the problems that this group of people have and what questions you need to answer in the courses that you're doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up one that we did for one of my side projects, of course, which is pickleball. And what we did with this one is I wanted to make sure that I understood the topics that we're going to be adding to my pickleball friends, the courses, and more importantly, the marketing of it. I wanted to make sure that I had a really good idea of what people who were interested in pickleball are talking about. And I've done a number of videos on this one. I just wanted to show you briefly some of the things that came up with this. And I think, where's the one that we use here? I'm just going to use this one because we started here. So the big thing is you have to know the keyword or the phrase that you're targeting, of course. So I just use pickleball as a start. And what I did is I said, give me 30 semantically relevant but unique topics under the main category of pickleball. Now, I could have asked for 50, I could have asked for 10, I could have asked for 100. I did 30 just for this particular one. So what ChatGPT did is it said, certainly here's 30 semantically relevant but unique topics under the main category. And it gave me a complete list of the topics. Now, the topics of these. And then if you look through, I've got 30 of them, and I could have asked to have them in order of demand, or the order of importance that people were looking at, but I just was playing around here and we did 30. So we've got a whole bunch of subjects that are in pickleball, and you can see that these are technically pickleball phrases and or subtopics for pickleball. So I said, give me 10 variations of pickleball strategy that address different search intent. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to figure out what are the questions that people are asking when they go to search for pickleball strategy. And it gives me 10 different ones because I asked for 10. Targeting newcomers, so pickleball strategy for beginners. So these are things that people are actually asking or searching for when they go to Google, when they go to YouTube, when they go to these places. You know, game plans, serving techniques, defensive strategies, all of these different ones. I asked for 10, but again, you could ask for 30, you could have asked for 50. Now, I did these for all 30. So if you take a look at this, I have 300 questions or 300 search intents that were created for pickleball. Now, if I know who I'm helping, if I know who has questions or has the interest in what it is that I'm trying to create courses for, these questions are the ones that we can answer when we're creating the sites and the training sites and the courses for people. And this is the big thing that we're spending a lot of time with all of these customers that we're dealing with on the agency side, is making sure they are really clear on who there is helping, what's going on with it, and where they should focus the course content that gets created. And again, a lot of times we just get a slide deck. The slide deck may be a year old, 2 years old, might be something they've done in person in the past. We're trying to spend time with it and make sure that, again, we take that content, put it into a topical authority map, and be able to create content from it and save them the time of having to repurpose or redo stuff that they may have done in the past. This also gives them an update as to what's important to their customers or the people they're creating the education for. And it also allows them to clarify some of the things that are important to them or that need updating for the people that they're creating the content for. So that topical authority map, absolutely super important, and it's one that we're spending a lot of time on, and I suggest that you do as well. So let me I want to go back and take a look at my notes here. I got money coming from serving. I want to talk about the other parts that I'm struggling with, and this is me as a business and our staff here. One of the things that we're struggling with in terms of how we run our business. And again, this is something that we looked at in 2023. I'm trying to figure out, I'm looking at stuff and say, hey, where is this all coming from? Or how do I figure out how this works together? What tools should I be using? And more importantly, what is the process that I have to use to provide the services for these customers based on the tools that I have? And that was the other big lesson, and the part that I struggled with is, if you have a set of tools or stuff that you use on a regular basis, what is the correct process or business process to deliver your service on the agency side, to deliver your service to your customers? What process works with these tools? And the tools that were used or that we were using sometimes didn't match up with where the revenue was coming from. Now, let me give you an example. We use, on one side of the business, we use a whole bunch of tools on our training site, which are really great for people or businesses that have a way or just want to work on that training site, keep it separate of their other business, but provide things like marketing, provide things like support, provide things like SEO optimization and the ability to send emails, have live events, webinars. We can do that right specifically in a site. So I'll give you an example here, just on the training sites one. I don't know if the workshop, yeah, so here's the workshop for today, for example. This is something, it's a tool right within WordPress. It's not another service, but it's a tool that is directly a WordPress plugin that works here. We're actually doing a live webcast. It's being done on Facebook and also on YouTube. Again, tools and a process for that. We've also got our courses here. So if I go take a look at the library of courses that we have, we've got 40 plus courses. We're using LearnDash for this one, which has its own set of processes. When we're doing things, for example, like podcasts, do an audio podcast, we're using a particular tool that's part of WordPress, and it sends all the audios out to Spotify and iTunes and all these different places where you can listen to podcasts. But all of the tools that we're using are here on our WordPress site, and because we're using these tools, there's a process for content creation. There's a process for, an example, doing marketing. How do we send the emails out? There's a process, we've got a help desk in here. So if someone has a question, how do we provide help on WordPress? So a set of tools that is here. This is excellent for people who are learning the courses. However, if someone doesn't have time to learn the courses, is that the best way or best tool to be using to provide the service. And we had a lot of trouble with that. And in some extent, we still do, because an agency customer doesn't want to log into a website. They don't want to learn how to do something on a live event necessarily. They don't want to take a course. They don't have time to log in to open a support ticket. They want to either talk to someone, they either want to be on a Zoom call so that they can actually see and critique or comment on work that's been done. They don't necessarily want to go and spend time here. So different set of tools for agency customers as opposed to the set of tools that we're using for a course customer. And got a lot of issues with that, and it's one that we're kind of struggling with, and we're going to have to clean up over the next little while. And this all has to go back to where the money's coming from. So if I'm using a set of tools and a set of a process like this that's only generating 20 or 30% of our revenue, is it the best set of tools and the best process for 30% or 100% of the actual revenue that we're generating? And in this case, it's not, and that's why I'm struggling with it. This set of tools that we have here on this site are absolutely awesome and perfect if you are wanting to create and only have to create a training site or an education site for your internal or external customers, paid or not paid customers. It's a great way to run it. It's there, everything is all included, and we can build it for you. On the other hand, if we've got people who aren't taking the courses, the agency side needed another set of tools and another process that was diametrically opposed to this. So we use some other external tools for providing the project management, and in some cases the support desk or help desk as the way to work on proofs, comment on stuff, have multiple staff members involved on particular projects, managing projects with these agency customers. So I think what's going to happen, in as much as I have this all set up here on the training site, if someone's taking a course and they're spending time here, it's all in one, it's there. On the other hand, what's going to happen is we're changing the process or having the agency customers be in another place. And that other place is a software called Teamwork, which has a Teamwork help desk and the Teamwork project management. And the great thing is we can actually have Teamwork talk to our email marketing, our social media content management, our search engine stuff. It's all allows us to manage that agency relationship with these customers that don't have time to do things. And it keeps it separate from the courses. So I think that's what's going to happen. That's what we're going to try and do over the month of January and moving forward, is make sure that we've separated the agency customers from the course customers. It's just appropriate because of the different needs of customers. So that's, one of the things that we're going to struggle with. And that's one of the things I'm going to spend some time to focus it on. The next piece I just want to kind of share, and this is again something I've been struggling with, is since this 70% of the revenue is coming from agency customers and the 30% is from course customers, when we're doing marketing, the big thing is I always think of people talk about a sales funnel. I always talk about a sales hourglass. So it's kind of a funnel at the top. There's a sort of a narrowing part and then an additional bottom part that flares out. So it's, that hourglass figure that we're working on. At the top of that funnel, in the past, when I was, starting out doing all of this marketing online, there was no social media. So the focus was getting people in the funnel and then bringing them through the funnel using email and email marketing. Some of that was cold, some of that was warm, some of that was joint ventures, a whole bunch of different ways of doing it. But getting them into the start of the funnel was all about email. On the other hand, now we've got to focus more on social media on the top of that funnel. And I think guiding people through that whole process of getting to know, like, and trust you is more about using email and guiding or educating people through that decision map and decision. It's almost like a decision hourglass. So if that's the case, and I have to use social media to actually get people at the top of that funnel. What social media should I be using for course buying customers versus customers who just want it done for them? And the big thing, or the big mistake that we made internally, is we did not spend enough time on LinkedIn, because the 70% of the revenue that we generated is more likely to come from someone who is on LinkedIn as opposed to someone who is on Facebook. So Facebook, Twitter, these other places, again, if people don't have time in their business, if people are more business specific, they're doing internal training, again, that's where money's coming from. We're going to have to spend a whole bunch more time on LinkedIn, and that's what we're going to be doing over the year. One of the things for LinkedIn is, we did a lot of work on YouTube this year. Spending time on YouTube, we've done live events, and I think live events are going to be absolutely huge again over the next year, especially for these business customers, these agency customers, because the live events, and a specific kind of live events, I think the almost like a passive live event. One of the kind of struggles, not a struggle, one of the things that I've noticed is that in terms of live events, everyone talks about short form videos and long form videos. And I think there's actually a third kind of video that is more important, and that's the one we're going to focus on. The short-term video, is it for someone who's got an agency? If you're trying to sell to a business person and you're trying to introduce products and services, someone scrolling through short-form videos on TikTok or YouTube Shorts, they want to be entertained for most part. That's been my experience. You're not going to get the traction that you need or the engagement that you need for people to start to reach out and to get involved with you because you're solving a problem. It's not going to be from the short-term or the short video. So can't spend time on that. That's fine. We'll work through that. Long-form videos tended to be, over the last little while, is how to answer a specific question or how to use a specific tool. And again, these videos started to get longer, I found. So you may end up 15, 25-minute videos because there's a lot to teach and it takes some time to do that on screen. And that could be just talking to someone or talking to the camera, for example, like we are, or actually going over how to use a piece of software, or going over some particular content where there is a screen capture, where it is someone that's talking to you directly, that is using notes or bullet points or producing a really professional video. So that's the second one. They've been getting quite long, and again, the people that we're talking to, they don't want to know how to do it themselves, they just want it done for them. The other video that I've seen is a lot of things, and traditionally called a webinar, where people had a live event, and I spent time doing this. I'm not going to spend as much time doing these ones, where it was kind of live webcast and you would talk to the camera. You might do a bigger, almost a complete course in an hour, but they tended to be quite long, and it was a start to finish, step by step, again, education piece. And it took the form of a live event. Now, the reason that the live events were, I think, bigger last year is because to get a really good video done that is 7 minutes, 10 minutes, 15, 25 minutes, to be able to do those, it costs money and it takes time to edit and make them professional. And to be able to stand out a little bit and to be able to be, for businesses, you either have to be really professional or super entertaining and super animated. And again, for a lot of that business to business work, that's pretty difficult. It takes some time, and I don't think you could publish enough of those short form videos. So people started to do long form ones that were not edited, but it was just live interaction like we're doing right now. Now, there's a lot of that content being created. It gets to be quite long, and if it's quite long, we just talked about, people don't have time to watch it. So here's what's happening with the long form live events. Two things I think are happening over the next year. These are going to be far more interview styled. And what I mean by that is a group of people basically talking about experiences or being interviewed about their knowledge and expertise. These are also something that is for passive learning, or picking up topics, strategies, that kind of thing, not learning how to do things. So that's the first thing. And when I say passive, it's not something that someone has to necessarily watch to learn from. It tends to be far more audio specific in terms of content because it's generally two people talking to each other. So I think we're going to see a huge amount of growth in the interview style live webcasts. We're going to be doing that as well. And the second thing that's great on this is if you look at tools, for example, like LinkedIn, audio events I think are going to be absolutely huge. Why? Because they don't have to be produced for videos, can be done very, very quickly, and you can ask other people up on the stage, and that's what they call it, is a stage where they can talk and be interviewed, but it's audio only. So we've got long form interviews that are live webcasts. We're going to be able to capture and use the audio in other places. And we've got things on LinkedIn like audio events where they're ad hoc interview style strategy ones where people listen for the education, for the content, not necessarily watch. This is stuff that can be playing in the background. It's not something where someone has to watch the screen and go, oh, this is how I do something. It's someone talking about their experiences, talking about what they know, like, do, and they have some experience with, and being able to pick that up and be able to learn it and apply it in your own business. And that brings the next thing, of course, which is podcasting, which is going to be continued growth, but the content in podcasting is going to be more interview style. So if you're not doing interview style right now, spend some time on it. And the reason why is repurposing your content. So let me take a look at some of the cool tools that we've run in, and we'll wrap it up with that. I want to share one with you that we found this week, that I found this week, which is pretty cool, that we're going to be trying out in the next little while. But if you take a look, and let me just show the screen here. If I take a look at some of these different courses that we have, you can see that there's headshots, right? You've got an actual headshot. You've got a headshot here. If I look and do, let's go up, no headshots there, no headshots there. Let me go to one of the courses here. Just go to courses and let's go down to, let's do mini courses. Got a headshot on that one. Do we have any more headshots on that one? Let me go down and we'll look at another one. See if we've got one. Yeah, we got a couple, but here's the thing. Taking headshots, which is probably a good idea if you are doing videos, you are doing courses, you are trading content, you're going to have to spend some time making sure that you're branding yourself as well as the content you're creating. It is important. If you go take a look at any of the work that's been done in terms of the stats and A/B testing and stuff like YouTube or course creation, if that's what you're creating, having a person-to-person relationship, or at least being able to see the person that's creating the content, has a lot of value. Issue is to get good headshots, it's a real pain in the ass. Takes time, needs to be done properly, whole bunch of issues. So having said that, great tool that we ran into this year, actually this year, 2024, is this one right here. And this one is Secta Labs. I think I'm pronouncing that right. And what you need to do is right from your phone, take a headshot, something that you're in, you know, could be anything to do with a headshot that's on your phone. What's going to happen is that selfie, you're going to upload it in about 2 hours. You're going to be able to get a whole bunch of professional headshots. Someone uploads the gray image that's there, they're going to get back 300 versions or 300 pictures that can be used for headshots. So this is one, takes a photo and generates hundreds of professional headshots in less than an hour. Okay, so if we go take a look at some of the examples here. So these are generated headshots from real people that gave permission. So any of these ones that you're looking at right now, these are all headshots that were AI generated. These are not real pictures of people. So this is a great tool that I found if you are creating courses, you're a content creator, you are building training sites, education sites, all of this great stuff, having these headshots available to you. Again, free tool, AI tool, pretty neat. Okay, so that's one of the other ones that we've run into. In terms of content creation, we create a lot of content for clients and customers, and we use AI tools. No lying there. There's no there's no secret to that. But how do you repurpose content? I talked about capturing this stuff in webcasts. We've got audios, we've got videos. How do we take the existing digital exhaust that we've captured and actually use it or have it for content that we can use on social media to start marketing, or at least getting in front of people that are potential customers? There's two that we used last year. I think there's some problems with it, but I'm going to show them to you. The first one, I think would be best this one. Yeah, this one's video.ai. Again, this is a tool that we've used in the past. And what it does is if I take that 1 hour webcast or that long form that I've captured and I upload it here, this will actually slice and dice it into either mini courses, for example, and or any social media appropriate videos. And it automatically cuts it into pieces for you and makes it available that you can use it in your content marketing. Now, the problem I've had with this is that this still takes a lot of time. The reason is if you put up an hour of video, you may get 30, 35 videos, 40 videos, but the AI tool has made the cuts in it. And a lot of times what we found, and what I found personally, is it takes a lot of time because even though the cuts are made, they're not appropriate to the content and you have to edit them or change where the cuts are. Now, it does save some time by putting things like having some different styles to them, over and above a headshot, for example, putting things like transcriptions or live titles and things on it, logos. That stuff's all done for you. Creates a lot of, saves a lot of time for you, but the cuts still require some time. So that's at the back end of content you've already created. The front end is another one called InVideo, which is another tool that we've used. And what this one is it will actually use AI to create the videos that can be used on the short form content. And this is just an example again of using social media to get people in the top of that funnel to generate leads, have them create interest about what it is that you're doing. Again, the same issue is we're still using AI tools, and as much as we'd like to be able to just say, hey, here's what to do and it's done for you, doesn't work that way. You're going to find that you're going to have to make edits and or change things, do it. So that's why we do it for you. And that's what's been happening for the people who are wanting their training site marketed, their campus marketed, their courses marketed. We do this for you because it does take time. So those are two ones that have been quite exciting in terms of course creators. So we've got the headshots, we've got the back end of creating social media content from stuff we've already done. We've got the front end, which is the InVideo for creating stuff that we didn't create. The other one is, and again, we'll talk about this as well, there's Mini Course Generator, which is one that is kind of exciting. And the thing is, with this one, that I've spent a lot of time talking over the last year, and I still think it's true, is that in as much as you want to create a course that is a mastery course that has 50 lessons broken into segments and all sorts of different tutorials and pieces, if people don't have time to go through it, they're not going to. You have poor engagement in the course, people don't complete it. And it's a lot harder to sell because it costs a lot of money. I've also talked a lot about blended learning and the whole issues with blended learning. Again, this is something that is fixed by creating mini courses. So here's an example of one where you're going to have a mini course. And again, this is a course creator AI tool that allows you to create mini courses. And this kind of tool is important because the mini courses that you create are going to be those under 30 minutes, couple sections, videos that are 4, 5, 6 minutes long that answer one question. And this is the big thing that, when people had large webinars, is that you had to listen the hour to find the answer that you wanted that may have only been 4 or 5 minutes in the 60-minute video. So this whole issue of creating course sizes, whether it be a mini course or a micro course or a mastery course, these ones, AI tools to be able to create them quickly and easily, that's one that is going to be I think an exciting part moving forward. Again, the other thing is when you're creating these courses, this is another one here, the products are all about where people are learning. And I'll give you an example of that. My Pickleball Friends, which I don't have open right now, but My Pickleball Friends, if people are playing pickleball, are they going to have a desktop computer with them? No. Are the courses that you create and the campuses that you create, the training sites, are they training sites that are on a mobile app or are they on a desktop? So at My Pickleball Friends, we have a completely separate, not separate, we have a downloadable app that has the exact same content that the desktop site does in terms of courses, in terms of community, all of those things where people can interact with each other, where they can learn how to play pickleball, but it's on their mobile device. Exact same content. The reason we did that is because the education that you provide and whom you provide it for needs to be distributed in a way that they're going to be able to consume it. So this is a tool, another AI tool that helps with that. I'm going to show you one other one that's been really, really popular, which we used in the past, but don't necessarily have to use anymore. That's one called Descript. And the whole thing from Descript, again, back to the time, is that Descript did one thing really neat, and we used it at the start. We don't need to use it anymore because we've got some different processes for it. But if you are taking the time to edit courses yourself, and you have, for example, a large webinar, and you know that of the large webinar, there's 60 minutes of video, you just want 30 minutes of content because the other stuff was introductions to people or trying to sell something at the end, but education material, you had to cut it, make particular slices and dices in the content, putting it all together. In the past, you had to use a tool that did it visually for video editing. What Descript did that was neat is it allowed you to edit the text, and the text would automatically edit the video and make the video cuts. So that was a great tool that was available to course creators. But again, for us, people don't have time to do this because if you have an hour video, you've got to go through all of the text that's available, find the text that's appropriate, take that piece out, make sure that it's created a course for it. They have tools like removing filler words or removing filler words that can be done for you. But again, it takes time. So this is another great tool. If you are going to do it yourself, it's there. So here's just an example of, we've got, if you look at, in video, you can create content. Video.ai actually allows you to repurpose content. And then we have Descript, which allows you to edit content. All of these tools are ones that can be used for creating your courses. So it's going to be some exciting time for that. The thing is, what kind of courses are you going to create in terms of the length of them? Mastery, micro, mini courses. Are you going to have time to do the editing yourself? Are you going to have time to do the marketing for yourself? And of course, they have to be marketed with content. And if you're creating content, if it's social media content, what social media are you using for the customers that you're doing? And also, how are you going to guide them through that purchase decision path? Is it going to be email? Are you going to be able to have meetings, one-on-one meetings? Is the thing that I'm going to finish off with. Because the other thing that we learned over the last little while, and I miss out on this, is before we would create a sales page and a customer would read a sales page and purchase online completely without any interaction with us other than the great content or great sales page that we created. I'm not saying that a sales page isn't needed anymore. However, a sales page and a personal one-to-one call are completely different. The thing that we're going to have to spend more time on is going back to one-to-one sales calls and booking appointments with people. And we've got some great tools for doing that. I'll show you one for an example that we've done here. Let me just go, I think we've got one there. This is a tool that we have, a booking tool from Fluent CRM. That's one of the plugins that we have for WordPress that automatically connects everything to the email marketing and the social media marketing. But here's the way for someone to go and actually say, you know what, I want to book a strategy call, which you can do with us as well. I want to pick the time for the call, and here's my name, tell us about the project. looking at it, it's a 30-minute Zoom call. It's booked for us. It's a one-on-one call with someone, private one-on-one call with their time, and it automatically creates the Zoom links, the calendar items, everything is there. There's a process in place for it. I think that's going to be a really big area of growth moving forward, again, for us, and take a look at it for yourself. So what does this all mean to you? First thing is, I want you to go back. I think you should go back and take a look and double check where your money came from. You should also take a look at the tools that you're using and the process that you're using to get in front of and or persuade and influence or earn the business from the people that is generating the most money for you. So who are those people? What are the problems that they have? Build a topical authority map, get the list of questions, find out, for example, what their problems are, and then get in front of them on the right social media platforms with the right content in your sales process and be able to follow up with them. And these are the things that we're doing. These are the things I suggest you do. And if you don't have time for it, which I'm probably pretty sure you don't, and just want it done for you, make sure to go to TrainingSites.io/talk, book some time with me, and I'd love to help you out moving forward and spend some time with that. So with that, how long have I been talking? What did we do? 52 minutes. I have plans for like 5 minutes, but I always get going too long on this. Moving forward for us is you're going to find more of an interview style for these live ones, and these little sessions are actually going to be done internally more for our members in our community, but we're going to either break these up and do them as smaller tips or smaller lessons and not do them as live ones, because in as much as there was great content here today, most people don't have a chance to watch it. So they're going to be able to listen to it on podcasts, listen to it on audio events and LinkedIn, and that's where we're going to be spending our time moving forward. So hope you enjoyed this. My name's James Maduke. You were on a TrainingSites.io webcast on YouTube, and I look forward to seeing you on YouTube or listening to you on an audio event or LinkedIn, because that's where we're spending the next year to try and start, build, and grow training sites and help people teach online. So take care, expect the best, and that's it.